Hey guys, Boris here, bringing you another VOD review. Just like in Americas and Europe, regionals are taking place also in APAC, while for CN they have their own competition, also with some spots for the Worlds through mobile qualifiers. Now, we are going to be jumping in game here with IronBogg, as from the final lobby, none of the players have public VODs, just Latte also being the only one to streaming. Now we are starting out here with a Jintu offered in our shop. The Ionia path is Path of the Prosperous, and we also started to pick up a Malzahar, and they have the Adrenaline module, which is the best module to be playing into the Zoe Malzahar reroll. Therefore, definitely going to be considering playing around it, especially if we can pick up a defender here to pair with that Sejuani, going to give us a very strong early game to be considering. Would also perhaps with this AP opener consider holding on to the Scion for a potential LeBlanc, but opted not to, going to still hold on to this Yasuo instead as a now we're going to give it up on it. Now with the obviously with passive Prosperous, we would want to have a strong board to be able to stack up that gold quite early on. Coming up in our augment selection, this I believe is the Air Axiom, which would be playing into the AD with the Shred. Sorry, Sunder, not exactly what we are looking for in our spot at the moment. Now, Tables Craps is a... If we are going to be playing from a weaker opener, however, we potentially could consider a strong opener at the moment with something like an Archangel Slam. However, Malzahar is not the strongest of the early game units. Very much appealing option here is the Patience of the Virtue, as in the right hands it's extremely strong augment, and also you're able to be playing from a low streak and generally spike with many rerolls, and also go for a bard as a potential extra resource generating force. Created Craft Ring, we a lot weaker than Patience is the Virtue, especially in the right hands. Since we have that direction, we can definitely not be taking Patience of the Virtue, otherwise we could be going for a bard, and too many bows would be a not exactly fitting our game plan. I believe the only line that we could really, there are a couple of lines that we can consider that into, that would be AD fast line from a very strong early game opener, or a de LeBlanc reroll, but then you would be prioritizing LeBlanc items first anyhow, rather than Draven items. So the augment does not really have that much space. Instead, we're going to go with the Patience of the Virtue and try to see if we can snatch any win states where we're leveled aggressively here. And this also gives us like slightly improved 3-cost odds. Obviously, if we do get a 2-star 3-cost here, our recon would be taking an immense hit. However, when we would need to be win streaking off that. However, we believe that this, again, this is the regionals lobby, therefore tempo is going to be quite high. And it gave us a potential to play a board, so we're going to go with that. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be losing a round here. Now, do we? This Malzahar manages to clutch it. The Archangel's scaling kicks, and we're able to go in a little 2-3 here, which is quite nice. Means that we're not going to be going into the 3-5 roll down of a little HP if we even lose now. Going to go for our bard rolls, generally holding out all the potential outs that we see. And this is nice. The interesting note: we gave up on this Malzahar, found a Nivea 2-star that we're just going to be transitioning into right away. Very interesting read, not being fully committed to this line. I did not slot the bard in either, playing around with the idea of selling this Ash, and are we selling we are selling the bard instead. Now, interesting play. We considered, but it does not seem that anyone in the chat would have called the Malzahar Zoe comp. Perhaps we can see when we're scouting around and through our matchups if I might have missed him scouting and doing so, if there's anyone playing into it. Instead, we're going to level aggressively now and slot in that 3 failure. They also could go for that Stoneplate Slam. Since we were a later pick, we're not offered prime components. Just have to take what we can slam if we are playing for this 5 streak right away. Queue into Graves to Bilgewater board. Hopefully we're able to sustain this Graves. Here is a Nivea with this Archangel is putting in quite a bit of work, able to get his Graves. Still going to be a very close fight. We need one more cast here, and thankfully the TF is not able to burst through that, so we're able to pick up a win here. Did not hold on to the Rumble pair either, but okay, we can high roll Garen, then that's fine as well. Perhaps consider transitioning the items. We have so many removers, even though our game plan is not exactly locked in, perhaps there is an option to do so. Going to opt to also position the Freljord emblem as an extra frontline in the front, as we do want much stall as possible. Thankfully queue into a weaker player, so able to complete a 5-3 here, but Very well played early game, displaying that it's not only about hitting your units, but also finding a way to get a little bit of smallest of the advantages over your competition through meticulous scouting. Yeah, so we mapped out the Demacia board, perhaps something that we can consider playing into. Definitely trying to angle a fast 9 board from here, but we are not able to pick up really the units here. We'll have to play around what we get dropped. We do get the Zinzao dropped, which is also very nice, going to give us a level 6 to be slotted into. Perhaps scouting around considering if we need to level, so we are a little bit worried. Going to start transitioning our items through the Garen as well, as he's obviously going to be stronger, and we will have to be sacrificing 2 rerolls for this if we were to pick up a Sejuani 2. Into Yasuo 2, that is most likely playing into a Yone with those items. Probably nothing else that they're going to be considering. Ari reroll could be if they found Ari items, otherwise trying to perhaps fast aid, but their spot is weaker, so they would have to try to see an option to stabilize. On our options, now Dumbify is a very strong appealing option, but we are on a streak, so we potentially can tempo from it. However, our board is very expensive, but level 640 gold is actually quite fine, I would believe. Otherwise, we'd be looking for the small grab bag in terms of components. Silver Destiny giving 4 gold. Flipping the augment is not exactly what we would probably looking for at this spot. Could get something that's completely uninteresting for us. Lineup would be very much if we're playing into like the Demacia. It does run quite a few frontline units, but would have little less value right now. So most likely considering Dumbify here and Corrosion also the same thing. So instead we go with the Dumbify. We have this arc. Now the thing that this enables this is that we have this Archangels and we have these free rolls that we can fish for something that is able to benefit from this Archangel scaling. And this Dumbify is going to be extremely strong in this spot right now. Trying to see if we can tie together the best board possible. Able to pick up an early Taric as well. Now, could this be an ASOL game? We would need to be unlocking Diana as well, and need to find a Zoe if we were to go for that. We are mapping out an ASOL. If this guy plays an ASOL from the spot, he's an absolutely insane. Just adjusting on the fly. Able to high roll a Swain, which is going to nicely fit in our board, and a Lux as well. That's going to definitely be able to keep together our streak here. But all of this enabled, like if we hadn't played so aggressively in another stage and given up on the plan of the Malzahar reroll, we would never been on the spot to be able to go on a streak and able to take the Dumbify, which enables this kind of line. This is the thing of staying open but still playing a very fundamentally sound TFT on being able to adjust on the fly of what the game is offering. This is why he's one of the best players known, and also known for being able to take these high risks. Whenever you do them, if they pay off, it's insane. Now there's a Zoe with the tier. It's, I would assume, quite unlikely that we get here as a last pick. Not a little unfortunate for us, however, we would still we'd be pushing level 7 if we needed to. So instead going to go with a bow here. Find another Swain pair, going to roll and find a Zoe, so if we transition the items, we unlock the Diana and would be able to unlock the ASOL, perhaps going to hold on to doing so. No, instead we're just going to jam it. The argument for holding on to would be just playing the strongest board in order to secure a 9 streak here, which is what essentially our econ fully depends on at the moment, because ASOL is a fast 9 comp. However, we scouted the matchups and we saw that, like, I assume that there are quite few weak players in this lobby, and we should be able to hopefully take down the Sash, but it has the Dumbify on its own. Able to do so, unlock this Diana, and now we should have the ASOL rolling in, coming on to the next round. Now, again, we have to give up the rerolls to be able to buy this Diana, which is not exactly what we would be best hoping for, but hopefully we're able to close out on a 10 streak and then our economy is completely fine. Going to be also interesting to see how we approach the stage 4. Probably going to go for a single large roll down, hopefully hit a frontliner that is enabling this ASOL to scale, and then try to make our way to the fast 9, especially with this 100% HP lead. Cut the Zoe 1 HP on the TF unfortunately breaks our streak, and obviously we managed to streak for quite a while, so we made a lot of gold, but that's the items on the Leona diff. I believe we had the adaptive helm onto the Lux, we would have been able to win that. A small mistake made there, but I mean, sometimes it's what it is. Obviously hurts a little bit more since this was going into a PvE round as well. And again, we have to give up all these rerolls here from the Patience of the Virtue. Probably would want to be transitioning items onto the ASOL right now as well. How we're going to plan them out? Yeah, we toyed around with the idea of reforging this stone plate because, okay, we with a JG, that's quite good. Going to have to burn another remover is what it is, but this guy's just absolute beast. Playing into the Mordog's Blessing himself. I mean, if you play ASOL in a tournament lobby, you deserve this kind of luck. Coming up on the last augment, Indiscriminate Killer would be if we needed a third item, but we have the damage item sorted right now. We're probably looking for some kind of potential frontline, although that's also sorted. So combat or econ that to get us to 9 is actually quite good in this spot, I would believe. Probably defaulting Portable Forge here at the moment as a potential for any kind of items or some synergistic artifact, as little buddies are just simply not that strong of an augment in this set at all. Staffsmith is very appealing if you wanted to get online a second AP carry, but again we have 5 backline items. I'm not exactly sold onto this. Not a great substitution. Precision of Grace, that's a melee augment, so perhaps we just have to rip a Forge. Not going to do so. Now, knowing your enemy is quite appealing at this moment, just going to give us a little bit more burst of damage. Instead, going to go with the Staffsmith. Alright, so we have the damage item sorted. Now we just have to hope that we're able to get to the tank component. But since we're going to be the latter of the picks onto the carousel, we should be able to do so. We can save this Adaptive Helm as a one frontline item, and then maybe if you get a chain, make something like a Steadfast. Again, valuing this item tempo quite so much. That's one way to get the unit in your powers. Obviously, we're a little lower on the gold, so we're not going to be getting to these 2-stars for quite a while. That loss that we took from this very aggressive plays in the earlier stages is kind of costly for us, as well as with the Damify nuking our recon in a quite strong of a board that we had. Just, again, trying to see the position in a way so that the Lux has the easiest of the snipes. Going to use the dummy, as you know, with the trick with the Garen, so the units wrap, and you're able to get the maximal value out of your Lux. Also, we want to position our Diana in a way that we're able to get it on our backlines. Unfortunately, that didn't work out this round. But we're just going to use this HP lead that we have saved right now in order to be able to stack up this ASOL as high as possible. And we should have a quite smooth cruising, especially since we picked up 2 rounds on this stage. We should be quite easy to be able to make it our level 9 board, and it's going to be interesting to see how we manage to cap out around this. Are we going to go for the usual version of the scapping around Sharimans? However, we would need to find an early Azir, and at the moment that's not looking like to be, so have to roll deep. We're able to find a 2-star Leona, but not, and the 2-star Lux, but not much else. Going to slam a TG here since we were forced to take a glove. Just check the TG, see it's a crown down, that's completely fine to be able to use this extra front line for ourselves. Again, we just want to be stalling as long as possible at the moment for this ASOL, but we are quite low on gold, only 10 gold here at the moment. And therefore going to this level 9 and finding this ASOL 2 is going to be quite hard. It was kind of costly for us to be able to find an upgraded frontliner, and we did not manage to find any of the 4 costs. As we can see, there's already a Taric 2 out of the pool. Going to give up on this Aphelios. It's not just simply doing much on the board, also enables us to make 20 here. Should be quite good. Hopefully able to snatch it to win here against an MF1. This Fizz does not do much. This is a Gargoyle's Rageblade Fizz. Easy win for us against a Bilge player who has missed and also has full scented. So we're in a very prime spot to perhaps a 5-5 level 9 and then go for a big roll down at the moment. Just saving up those free rerolls from Patience of the Virtue. Not going to be rolling any deeper than necessary, and definitely have this HP lead in order to be able to do so. Now, we do get dropped a bow, so we do not really have the frontline items. We're fully going to be having to rely on this dummy in order to be able to secure a frontline. Picking up a tier, because we are planning on giving up on the Zoe, so we do want some form of a shred. And we have to make this BT for the Diana. Can serve as another potential carry. All these item augments enabling all these carries, that's just one way. If you are going to be playing for these the last 9 comps, it's probably well recognized that the Sav Smith is going to enable us to cap the highest, because we're going to be having so many high value units that you definitely want to have the items on them. Another win that we're able to pick up here. So it seems like that we were the lucky ones in the lobby. Are we considering a very aggressive level here? I mean, we just need so much gold. We are going to be buying the Senna, which we want. Therefore, perhaps consider the level here. Instead, not going to. It's just simply finding this ASOL 2 is going to be quite expensive for us if we opt to go that route. Well, we are going to through it, right? But it's simply going to be quite expensive for ourselves. Again, do not get the correct side for this Jinx. So we might be... The ASOL has scale, but again we take a very narrow loss. Quite fine for ourselves, but obviously we want to be taking these reroll players out well before they have spiked, instead of giving them extra turns in order to do so, as they can be quite scary for us. Definitely if they are playing around some prime combat augments, these 3-cost rerolls have the potential to win out. And here we have the Darius LeBlanc reroll. Thankfully, they are playing around the prismatic econ augment, so which has enabled them to quit quite early, but their cap hopefully is not going to be as high. This ASO is absolutely blasting the rest of the units, getting that LeBlanc down, but Darius is just an absolute monster. The real star of this patch, really. This Darius unit is just insane. Now, perhaps we can able to pick up a frontline item. I mean, Spirit Visage would be quite good if we wanted to try to bite as a frontliner, but going to go with that. So, since we're holding... Oh, we have a red buff as well, so do not need the Morello. Are quite good on that department. Now going to go for a level 9. Try to see if I roll down. Able to pick up the Seraphine and Azir duo, but instead finding a Zillion that... Perhaps they're toying around with the idea. Have the ASOL pair. Did not slot him in right away. There's also a way to cap around with Annie, right? And if we are holding onto these Garens, we are signaling that we also want to find a Silas if possible. Diana is able to get on their Seraphine, and a narrow loss again. Fortunately, just do not have this much power, but this ASOL should be quite good on the scaling at the moment. We see that there's the bugged ML orb staying around as well. Slowly trying to transition this board into as many 5-costs as we can. Just going to see what we are able to play around. Now, this Diana is able to get on their backline. We do get a correct side finally. So hopefully taking out one of the threats, and also this Lissandra is just simply has been a little bit underwhelming, at least in my experience in itself. And we're able to do a big loss and even eliminate the player, so we are very close on top 4. We see Little Bear has 2-star Siobhan, and they are going for the win out of their own. So they perhaps are one of the bigger threats, but we still have this very comfortable HP lead to at least secure a, as a bare minimum, I would say a third, but most likely a second already from this spot. But still, the thing is, but we have been quite weak this game. Also, the Steadfast, I believe it was on the Seraphine that is unlocked as a Karner. Now, generally has lost some of the value since it's not as an AD of a heavy meta, but hey, a 2-star frontliners, 2-star frontliners are going to transition items to him. Most likely go for another Spirit Visage here, transition the TG onto the Swain, as the Swain is, you know, more of a utility unit than a pure tank. Still have the Zillion pair, and they're instead of holding onto this Lux. Able to pick up a win nicely. And now we have secured our top 3, but still do not have this ASOL in sight. Now we get the Taric too. Skarner should generally be a little bit of a stronger of a tank. Also going to transition onto the Zillion over the Lux. Again, nicely positioned here to be able to get this Diana onto the Jinx, but against a very capped Warwick board with the Guild is still even providing extra durability. But this snipe assist from the ASOL, the Diana is able to take out the Jinx, and we're able to take a big win for ourselves. Now get as Silas online as well. Although, who do we slot over? Yeah, Senna here is just a flexible slot that we can slot this Silas in over. And perhaps transition, yeah, transition the TG. If we had 2-star, then probably go with the Diana items. Again, nicely positioned last second and able to ensure that we are jumping on their backline. And are we able to close this out? This is a very strong board from Little Bear, but they have the econ augments as well on their side. We have taken that augment, we have the combat, and we're able to secure a win with an ASOL in a regionals lobby against a Mel 2, Senna 2 on their own side. And the Shyvana too, very, very well played by IronBogg, enabling his early game, playing aggressive, being very aggressive, in even nuking his econ, is able to find his way from out by high rolling the Taric and seeing that, hey, this is an actual ASOL spot that we can play for, and if we're able to pick up some wins, this is going to carry us to level 9, and we're able to cap around a very high capped board. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something new, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.